Childish, oh shit. Last time I checked, I was still a kid. Childish, childish. This all freaks me out a bit. Childish, oh shit. How can I parent when I'm still a kid? Childish, oh shit. Who the hell decided I was ready for this?
Welcome. It is that time of the week. It is the childish time.
Childish time. You're Greg Fitzsimmons. I'm Alison Rosen.
Greg Fitzsimmons. Yeah, and you are Alison Rosen.
You're the best Greg Fitzsimmons, and the only, but still, top of the list, Greg Fitzsimmons.
Have you met any other Alison Rosens in your life?
Yes, actually, there's like
How
a
did
few
you
of us.
compare?
Oh,
Did you compare? Did you really think? Because I've met one other Greg Fitzsimmons, and I found myself comparing myself to him.
I don't know that I compared. I mean, I'd like to say that I'm top of the heap, but we are each the best Alison Rosen in our respective field. So I was already connected to an Alison Rosen because we both have variants of Alison Rosen emails. And so she gets email from me all the time.
Right.
And so she'll forward it. And so we've kind of bonded, although I haven't received anything from her in a long time. So I don't know what's going on with that. But then there's a chef named Allie Rosen, and she reached out to, and she's in New York, and she has long dark hair, which is interesting. And she reached out to me, and she had a cookbook coming out, and she pitched herself on my show.
No,
and
she
so
didn't.
I interviewed her, and then I had the other Alison Rosen call in. I mean,
Did you really?
yeah, for people
That's
named
amazing.
for people named Alison Rosen, it was like quite a treat. For the rest of everyone, I don't know.
Yeah. Did you
But-
find you had chemistry with them?
Yes, I
Yeah.
would like to have her back on the show. And
Really?
is her husband named Daniel as well? Possibly. I can't remember.
Are you sure you didn't interview yourself?
In another like multiverse timeline kind of thing. Here's the thing though, and tell me how you feel about this. I believe her real first name is Alexandra.
Oh, that's bullshit.
So she's an Allie Rosen. But
Yeah.
are you aware there's also a chef named Alison Roman who got into a tiff with Chrissy Teigen? It was a whole thing. Before all the craziness of the protests that are going on right now, which has sort of subsumed the news cycle. This was like a trending topic on Twitter. And it was like Alison Roman is canceled. And a lot of people reached out to me thinking it was me. It wasn't. And also some people sent super hateful tweets to me. And it was kind of enjoyable to be like, not for me, but thanks.
Wow.
Have you ever had some mistaken identity stuff like that?
There was one Greg Fitzsimmons that I know of, and he is a gentleman who lives in Columbus, Ohio. And he was a fan, but I don't know if he was a fan because he heard about me because people were like, hey, there's a comedian named Greg Fitzsimmons also. And then maybe he started following me and said, hey, I kind of like this guy. And he used to come to my shows every year.
I love it.
It was either that or maybe he was an extreme narcissist and I was an extension of himself. And so he was naturally drawn to me. But he was a very nice guy and fell out of touch because I stopped working in Columbus. But I'd love to get reconnected. If there's any other Greg Fitzsimmonses out there, why don't you shoot me an email at the childishpod@gmail.com. And if there's any other Alison Rosens out there, not Alexandras, not Aloysias.
The common name, Aloysia. Greg, what if that Greg Fitzsimmons from Columbus, Ohio, and the Alison Rosen that used to forward my mail but doesn't anymore, I think she's in Boston, what if they have gotten together and they're hosting a podcast called like Immature?
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, we don't know.
It sounds like a reality show.
It really does.
Jeez.
Have you watched any good television lately? And what made me think of it is, speaking of like timelines and things, there's this show on Hulu called Devs, Devs, that Daniel and I were watching, but it was too unsettling for me, so I stopped. But he continued watching it, but it's on my mind.
I can't watch unsettling TV right now.
There's
I need
too much
something to calm me
unsettling
the fuck down. There's
reality.
There's two shows that I will highly recommend for people that are looking for soulful dramas that take you to another place and have exquisite acting and writing. One is called My Brilliant Friend. It's on HBO, and it's based on this series of Italian novels
Oh, is
by
that
Elena Ferrante.
Yes, you told me about that.
And they're just really well done, well cast, well acted. And I'm so sad that the second season's over now. The other one, which I would put almost up there with this one, is called Normal People, and it's based on the book Normal People
by Sally Rooney. I'm watching
Hulu.
that as well. There's 12 episodes, I think, and I'm on episode 10.
How you feeling?
Turned on.
Yeah.
It is like softcore. Like, it is very, very sensual, but so well. It's beautifully shot. It's so well done. It makes me want to read the book.
I think both those actors are going to blow up.
Yeah.
In their own right.
Have you read the book, Normal People?
No, my wife loved it, though.
Yeah.
What's the writer's name?
Sally Rooney.
She's got another book out that's supposed to be very good.
Is it called Conversations with Friends?
Yes.
Maybe. So wait, have you finished Normal People?
Yes.
Strong finish?
Strong finish.
Okay.
But very much leaves itself open to season 2, even though I've heard that it wasn't designed to be a multiple season show.
It really makes me want to go stay at an Italian villa.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes place in Ireland, you should mention, because it's the story of your people.
It's my people, and that is something that draws me to it is I think that Irish people, their language is so lyrical and so much more specific than ours. And I find there to be a lack of surface sincerity and a much deeper emotional life. Like they're cynical. Irish people are kind of cynical and sarcastic, but then underneath it, you see these deep relationships form.
This show is like extreme close-ups of very attractive high schoolers. They're supposed to be high schoolers, just kind of like looking around with longing. And I heard an interview with Paul, who plays Connell, one of the leads, and he was saying that I guess your wife would know this, in the book, there's a lot of description of his sort of what's his interior monologue, but there's not a lot of dialogue. So it was a challenge when they were writing it to give him the dialogue to express what was going on. And you can really see it when you watch, because it's really just like, honestly, it does feel a little softcore porny, don't you think? Just longing and fucking.
I guess so. Yeah, I think it's used very well, though. I think that, first of all, if you want to watch porn, that's great. But if you want to really get turned on, watch good actors. Watch a French movie where you've actually got first-rate actors and first-rate directors shooting on film. Like, watch. There's a movie called Blue is the Warmest Color that's on. Have you heard of it? It's on.
No, it's not.
Netflix.
It's not even true. Blue's a cold color.
That's right. It is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they make it warm. These two make it warm. They are teenagers that have a lesbian affair. One of them is already a lesbian, and the other one quickly finds herself drawn into that web. And that is what homosexuals do: is they indoctrinate.
They
other
ensnare.
People. Yeah, they ensnare you. So watch out for your kids. No, but it's so. I mean, and I'm telling you, there's one lesbian scene that goes on for 9 minutes, no music, heavily mic'd, cameras about 6 to 7 inches from them at any given time. I mean, it's insane.
You know, not in porn, but just in non-porn, when you hear kissing, is that Foleyed? When you hear the like...
Oh, yeah.
So is there someone just kissing into a mic?
Probably. I know that everything in a film is never the real sound.
Right.
If it's a sound effect, it's not the sound they captured on the set.
Listen, speaking of things on film, this episode that you're hearing right now, if you want to see us, and you do, because I am not wearing my customary black. I'm wearing like a light summery shirt that has puffy sleeves.
That's the first thing I said when I saw you is you look great. And I thought it was your hair, but that's what it is. You're wearing some light, springy looking blouse.
Honestly, I was looking at old photos and I saw a photo of myself from my engagement party and I was wearing a black shirt and I looked at it and I just thought, ugh, Get me out of those black clothes. I echoed the sentiment of, I think, men who might have dated me in the past. I was just like, I got to lighten it up. And so I put on this shirt that's very out of character for me. I feel like maybe I missed my calling as a girl next door type, Greg.
I think you were more of like the girl in the basement, and now you're the girl next door.
I've ascended a couple flights of stairs, and now I'm no longer living beneath you, making creaking sounds in the night.
Haunting the basement. Yeah, no, you look great. You look great.
Thank you. Check us out and Greg, you look great. You've got a green wall. There's so much to bring you to our videos. Check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Alison Rosen. You can watch them, subscribe. And also, speaking of subscribing, if you like what you're hearing, and even if you don't, please be subscribed to our podcast. Click 5 stars. Leave us a review. It helps out the show so much. Tell your friends. If you have been enjoying all this, I was going to give the hard sell, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. But I would like to read just a few reviews to let people know that we see and hear you. Love Childish. This is from Shan0112. John Henson was a great guest, truly laughing out loud during the family bike ride story. Here's another nice one from Bria L. Greg and Alison are my favorite. I truly look forward to this podcast every week. They are honest, hilarious, and vulnerable. I find myself being able to relate to so many things they talk about each week. My husband and I listen separately, but when he gets home from work on Wednesdays, I always say, "Did you listen?" Then we talk about all the things we loved about the episode. Love you both. And then, lest you think it's only positive, here's one. Because I read one that was a little bit negative about you one time, and you're like, it's curious since you're the one who chose them that one came up. So just to show that I honor FCC equal time, this is from Hathaway 101. The headline is More Greg. I'm a fan of all of Greg's podcasts and appearances. Allison's ill-founded political opinions make this show a difficult listen. So look, not everyone loves us. We're not for everyone.
But you know what that is? The only negative things I ever read online, they start out with Greg sucks, this show sucks, and it always goes into politics.
Yes.
It always ends up being somebody that didn't agree with one, because we are certainly not a political show. We have Bob Saget on today, and in full disclosure, we've already interviewed him, and I could say there is some politics involved just because of the times we're living in this particular week.
Yeah.
But I think we go way out of our way, as I do in my other podcast, to not get into politics very much. But God forbid you say one thing. It's like fucking certain people, not a lot of people, but there's always some people that really get upset about it.
You know what I have noticed lately? This thing where someone starts a letter or a tweet with "love ya, but."
Yeah.
I love the show, but. And I've realized nothing positive ever comes after that.
Yeah.
It's usually very negative. But you know something that's not negative?
What's that, Alison?
Policy Genius. With everything going on right now, a lot of people are asking if it's even possible to buy life insurance at all. The short answer is yes. You can buy life insurance during a pandemic. And if you have loved ones, depending on your income, you probably should. As an insurance marketplace, Policy Genius is in contact with the life insurance companies on their platform every day. They're keeping track of all the changes in the market so you don't have to, which means they can get you covered quickly and for the best price. Here's how it works. Policy Genius compares quotes from the top life insurance companies in one place. It takes just a few minutes to compare quotes from the top insurers to find your best price. This doesn't just save you a lot of legwork. You could save $1,500 or more a year by using Policy Genius to compare life insurance policies. Once you apply, the team handles all the paperwork and red tape for free. If you hit any speed bumps during the application process, they'll be there to take care of everything. So if you're one of the many people looking to buy life insurance right now, but you're not sure where to start, head to PolicyGenius.com. Policy Genius will find you the best rate and handle the process completely. They'll get you and your family protected and hopefully give you one less thing to worry about. Very excited to bring in Bob. But first, I just want to say quickly, if you'd like to call us, leave us a voicemail. We play them on the show. The number is it's taped ahead of time. The number is 805-317-4243. Please follow us on social media at ChildishPod on Twitter and on Instagram. We put out social media questions on Fridays. And if you want to email us, childishpod@gmail.com. I'm at Alison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram. Greg is at Greg Fitch Show, right?
That's it.
Okay, so Bob Saget, I feel like, do we even need to give his credentials? Everyone, he's got a podcast right now that's great called Bob Saget's Here For You. You know him from Full House. You know him from Fuller House. You know him from America's Funniest Home Videos. You know him as the voice on How I Met Your Mother. What are we missing?
F is for Family. He just did some of that. He was on
Entourage.
Entourage. And he's a really good stand-up. You should go see him live on the road.
Yeah. All right. Here's Bob. Bob Saget, we're very excited to have you on Childish. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm Childish, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to do something that is out of context of where we're all at right now, which is a difficult time. But to be with you guys, talk about kids and talk about, the youth and all of us. I'm immature, so.
Well, I love that about you. You are absolutely a childish man. And you're a beautiful man. And
did we shower? Have we showered together?
We've never showered together, although we did send pictures of ourselves towel dry, outside of the shower, but we were towel dry.
I remember my towel dropped, but yours didn't.
Mine was like the copper tone baby, where it just, you could see half my ass cheek.
You took it off, but you were looking in my eyes and it just stayed there somehow. I don't know how that happened. I guess you got it the first time, what I meant.
Can I tell you my favorite Bob Saget memory, Alison?
Yes, please.
I have many, but Bob invited me to his birthday party. I'm not going to say which one it was, 60. And so I show up, and it's at the house of the producer of Full House. And the guy is, not only did he produce Full House, he had 3 primetime sitcoms on the air. Am I right? At the same time?
Yeah.
So this guy's house it's on the property what used to be.
It's really
the
Full
Manson
House
murders
and Fuller House that made him. And I knew him when he wrote Jeff Franklin, when he wrote for Bosom Buddies, and I was the warm-up comic. So
no kidding, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. So I walk into the house. And I can hear Good Vibrations playing. And I'm like, all right, good omen. We're walking in. Good Vibrations is playing. Little Beach Boys. Open up the front door. And everybody's crowded into one room. I'm giving up good vibration. I look over, crowd of people. Everybody's dancing. And who's up on stage? Mike Love from the Beach Boys. And John Stamos is playing drums. And there was 2 other guys from the Beach Boys there, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's Jeff Foskett, and I think Brian was there, Brian Johnson, I think.
It was unbelievable. It sounded so good, and they were having a blast. And I'm a huge Beach Boys fan, so afterwards, I'm standing at the dessert table, and I talked to Mike Love for like 20 minutes, and it was just, what a great dude he is.
He is wonderful. Did he give you LSD?
He did. He gave me LSD. And then we, because it was it was where the Manson murders was.
Let's back this up. Let's back this up. Okay, the property happens to be, if you saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, on the property. It's not the same house, but obviously, it is the property where Margot Robbie was staying in the movie, so people of this day and age can understand.
Right.
And so he built it on that spot. I think he lit some sage or did something,
Yeah. But no, that was a good time. And,
it was a very wonderful birthday party and very memorable. It was right before I had just met my wife, but it was too soon to go, okay, here's my 60th party and here's every major person that I love in my life. And it was almost like quarantine in a way because 2 of my daughters were there. And it was like, who do you want to be with? Who have you not talked to? Who do you talk to? And why am I not talking to them? That's what happens during quarantine. It's like we're wanting to talk to people that we care about. So podcasts are helpful.
Yeah.
I'm catching up with you guys. And yeah, people hear it. But I mean, I don't think about that. Except sometimes. And then it was a really wonderful bunch of people.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of love, and it was just Mike Love. And
there's a lot of Mike Love.
Is he a big guy? Because there was a lot of him.
There's a lot of love. It's got to be a lot of love. That's another singer. I can't remember who sang "Gonna Be a Lot of Love."
Bob, how did you feel when you turned 60?
It was fun. I actually celebrated. I mean, Norman Lear was at my birthday party, and he's 97 now, so he was 93 or 4 then, because I'm 64. And he slaps my face and tells me I'm a baby.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm fine with that. He's a genius, whatever.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So you have 3 adult daughters, all of whom are artists, right?
Yeah.
Did you always want to be a dad?
I did right at the moment of conceiving.
Conceiving, or when she pulled up the stick and it was red?
It was right when I pulled out. I knew that I wanted to be a dad. I'm very potent, or was. I'm not anymore.
So you pulled out, but you still got pregnant. Was your oldest daughter a fast swimmer? Did that play out in her life?
Very much so. In fact, she came out wearing goggles. And she's 33 now. 33,
Man,
31,
really?
and 27, all beautiful girls. And
They are beautiful girls.
how old are your guys now? Alison, you had one baby when I was at your place, but
That's
now
right. I had just had Elliot. So he's 3 now. And then Owen is, I have another one and he's 1 year old.
Right. I knew that because I listened and I know.
Oh, thank you.
See what happens?
I love it.
Yeah.
We're best friends. And Greg?
We're best.
Mine are, my son is 19 and my daughter she'll be 17 in a month. And so it's very difficult because in these quarantine times, they are so used to having their freedom now. And yet, how do you, my son was a freshman at college. How do you tell him now what time to be home? Or, you catch him smoking pot. What do you say? It's very difficult to find the line right now of how to parent.
Well, I would just say, give me a hit.
Give me a hit. Well, we'll talk about that off the air.
Oh, so does your son sell? Because
He does, and we have an alley behind our house, and he hangs out, but he pretends he's playing basketball, but he wears a fanny pack. You'll recognize him.
does he wear it on the front or the back?
Wears it on the front.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
that's what I call protection.
That's right.
I'm
not a drug guy. I'm not, and neither are my kids.
No?
No. I used to be in my early 20s. I smoked dope for 2 years. I'm sorry, Alison, I cut you off.
Oh, no. It's interesting what you're saying. So did having kids make you less of a drug guy or did that happen on its own?
No, I didn't have my first daughter till I was 30. So, or 29, just as before Full House, I had a baby. And I just did it when I lived at home for college. So I was 21 when I came out to LA, went to the Comedy Store, was going to go to USC Film School. Mitzi said, "No, come here. You'll do well. You'll have spots and work here for free. It'll be fun." And I was like, okay. But she was also really kind to me. And I was on a college tour for the Comedy Store. So I kind of did okay enough to pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
But I smoked dope and was drugging it for a couple years because I'd never done anything. I lived at home. So I was basically what other people did at 15, 16, 17, or the late bloomers 18. I did it about 21, 20, 22. I didn't do it the moment I came to LA and go get me high, someone.
I feel like I did it at between 25 and 27. That's how much of a goody late bloomer I was. And I actually feel like where it's sort of a normal rite of passage to get a little bit of that out of your system in high school, it's more problematic to be messing around with stuff in your 20s probably. But the question what I was gonna say was, so I have these little guys who, I my job is to protect them. And I try to imagine what it'll be like when they're older. I try to imagine putting that down, that thing of I have to protect them, I have to take care of them. And that transition to, well, now they're their own people and they can make their own decisions. And you have these, grown kids. Do you still worry about them in the same way that you did when they were
I'm
babies?
going to do it in live time. I just got a text from my daughter in Brooklyn. And when I get that, I answer right away. Because I have to, because she's in Brooklyn and there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
And,
COVID and protest.
COVID, she's been scared to death trying to protect herself and her boyfriend. And the protests are there on television a block away. And she supports the protests, of course, but the looting and the hurting people, you can't support violence. It's because that's the same revenge we have to listen. We have to hear. I have to understand. It's enough. I understand it's enough. Because
do you ever feel like this is tough because, we're in a situation where I don't know how white your childhood was or how much.
I lived in Norfolk, Virginia, and it was incredibly racist. And I was Jewish, and they threw pennies at me, at my head, and called me a Jew and rocks.
Wow.
And I have a great rock collection now. But
pennies.
And it was
pennies.
very racist against blacks, very much so. When I was a little kid, there was segregated bathrooms. I didn't know what that was at 7, 8, 9. You don't know that. You really, as we all know, have to be taught to hate. Have to be taught to hate someone because of the color of their skin.
Right.
And all that does is fuel evil.
Yeah, and it's very difficult because it's a time where, like you said, we have to listen and we have to learn. And I had an experience on my podcast where I had a woman on, Dulce Sloan, who's African-American woman from The Daily Show. And she came on, and it was a few days ago. So, these protests were really heating up, and I didn't know how to broach it. So we just did the podcast, and then towards the end, I brought it up. And she had a very, very strong reaction as somebody who's, very political. And I found myself no longer having a conversation. It was a place where she felt like she had a lot to say. And it was a place where I felt comfortable just almost putting my mic down and going, all right, what can I learn right now? And part of what she was saying was, I'm not here to teach white people right now. She said, this information has been out there about how black lives are
for
about a long time.
2,000 years. I mean,
so don't put a microphone in my face right now and ask me, how did this all happen?
Yeah.
Was she saying that to you, or was she saying that in general?
That was the tricky thing, is I really didn't know at the end of it. Was she
upset with you?
Was she yelling at me, or was she yelling at the aggregate of white people? And I had to sort of say, it ended nicely, so I don't think she was yelling at me. But if she was, so be it.
Yeah.
So be it.
It's your turn.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's tough. We marched yesterday. They marched past. We live in Venice Beach.
Where did you march? What's your address exactly, just so everyone can know tonight?
Mm-hmm.
It's 555 Mockingbird Lane.
That's a beautiful. Oh, that's so great. I'm not being rude. I'm looking at what my kid just said, so I have to.
I'll tell my story while you read.
She's okay.
No, he was gonna invite us into texting back his daughter.
I thought you were, please, let's hear it.
Then let's hear about Greg.
Yeah.
She's good. She was just asking about the family. She's asking, is everybody okay? Basically, and telling me that she's okay, because that's what I care about the most.
Right.
What incited this was all ready to go anyway, because it's been going on for so long.
Forever.
I mean, forever.
The country, and also
the country's based on it. Look how we were founded, and I love America, but slavery is how it began after we wiped out the Indians when the white people came. I didn't come here. My family was being killed in Russia, so I got to I have a get into jail free card.
Well, my family came over when we were being starved out of Ireland by the English, and 1 million Irish people died of starvation, and another 1 million emigrated.
And once they got their food, there was a potato famine. So
That's right.
That's true. But you had whiskey to get you through?
We did. And you know what's crazy is we had lobsters. I read this recently. I read a lot of Irish history, and I minored it in college. And they actually had lobster. The coast of Ireland was fucking filled with lobster. The Irish people looked down on it so much, they saw it as like eating rats, and they didn't eat lobster.
Yeah, lobster was like pauper food. And then it hired a new PR firm, and suddenly it's fine dining. So, Greg, what was your protest experience?
Oh, so it was kind of nice because it was scary at first. We were in the back. We were all in the back on a Zoom call with my mother-in-law for her birthday. And then we heard like horns and screaming and yelling. And we're like, what the fuck's going on? So My daughter ran out and she said, well, the protest is going by. And, we should, let's join it. So we went out and it was very peaceful. We must have walked at least 6 miles along the beach. And there was a lot of support. There was a lot of police, and they were helmets, masks down, batons, gloves, and but they didn't fuck with anybody, and people marched peacefully, and there was a lot of support. This was that I think earlier in the day, Santa Monica got destroyed. The whole 3rd Street Promenade. There was a lot of people acting out. There was a lot of people stealing,
and then they're not. A lot of them are not the protesters. They climbed in. They drove in from out of town.
Yeah, they're either opportunists or people think that there are white supremacists who are infiltrating to agitate.
Or young kids that go on the websites with skateboards, and all of it is so painful because the purpose of the protest is founded, and it's the only way anybody's going to listen. They're not going to listen. They can listen when you vote. They can listen if you vote and if you can change things. I don't usually talk political. I don't try not to talk religious because it never, as a youth, got me laid. And but I believe in humanity, and I don't, for the life of me. I was crying I've been crying. My wife was crying and just posted something on Instagram that was so beautifully said, and I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can hate another person. We're all part of the same. If people don't realize that we're all the same thing, then they hate themselves, part of them. And it's so tragic that humanity is so perversely flawed.
Well, one of the messages I'm hearing from a lot of African Americans right now is that at this juncture, it's people like us. They're enlightened white people need to get the message to unenlightened white people because they're not hearing it from black people.
Mm-hmm.
Good, but they're turning off the news when they're hearing that. To them is militant talk.
Right.
And to me, I can't watch people get hurt on the news. Mm-hmm. And I had to watch this. I had to watch this thing that will be in history. I mean, the last time we saw this was Rodney King. And you're watching that and you're going, what? But this is a lot different. This is a lot different. There is no case except guilty, and the other officers should be tried and arrested, and everything is, the system has got to straighten itself out. It's not like throwing, bodies at people so they'll calm down, but it's a little late. Things need to be addressed in a civil, honest, human way.
Right, and there needs to be more transparency with the police. I mean, the problem is, like I saw spray painted across the store yesterday, is if a policeman murders, who do you call? And it's like the problem is the union. And I'm a big union guy. I've been in a union.
Same here. I
was in a union, but the policeman's union is not allowing there to be internal investigations, and they're not taking them seriously, and they're stonewalling, and so there has to be a new way of investigating police when these things happen, because this one has gotten a lot of publicity and people are still not happy with the way it's being handled. How about the ones that get no publicity?
Which
is quietly do whatever the fuck they want.
And we're talking about, this should be federal. This is not something that we give to the states. This is something that needs to be a federal law where you have to change. It's very difficult, but you have to change the police system. You have to. And I've met so many good police officers, and I loved watching when the news doesn't try to make this worse, when they would show the officers marching with the protesters.
Right.
When I would see the officers hugging people. I don't know. I mean, what are we going to do except send out love and be there and listen like you were doing? That's what you're doing, Greg, is to listen and then enact change. And the only way, unfortunately, and that's why there's so much anger, I don't know, because I'm not black. So I don't have a right in some ways, but I empathize the shit out of it. So I have that right to have deep feelings. I mean, I'll run into Chappelle every once in a while. And when I see him, our hug is so long, it's subjectively sketchy. You know, people think we're about to,
Yes.
people have talked, but we're doing it, Matt, face to face.
Sure.
We
Well, you
usually
can do it
start off
face-to-face.
with, because this wasn't the thing that changed everything. This is the thing that went, you know, this is the powder keg. This is enough is what this was. And it's unfortunate that, anyway, back to Chappelle, because name dropping is more important than talking
Yes,
about,
that was a good one.
human rights. But every time we hug, we literally get emotional because we go, what the fuck? We love each other for 25 years. What is wrong with the fucking world? Why doesn't humanity know this? And it's because people want to go back to a kinder, gentler time of the 1700s, you know, when there was no penicillin and, you know, and
it was only good for a small handful, I think.
Yeah, right.
Would
All right, well, listen, let's...
So anyway, I love my
transition
kids.
into-
That's actually the segue is, what world are we leaving our kids?
Right.
What world how do we help our kids through this? Because who's addressing that? Some good people. I would think there's some great podcasts out there. There's some great motivational speakers talking about it.
There's Greg Fitzsimmons and Alison Rosen are. Have you heard? I mean, it's inspiring. It's changing the world. It's relatable, and it's brave and honest.
And it's militant. It is. We fucking go for it.
Yeah, we don't hold back.
No, but I mean, I think part of it is like, you know, how you raise your kids is, I really believe that progress is made generationally when people work on themselves. And I think when you can try to wrap your head around racism and the dynamics of it, and how you can have a better understanding yourself, your kids then do. And that's how I think there's progress, is like, you know, I really do believe that if I do nothing good in the world except raise kids, I've done a lot good, because I've raised kids that were better than me, and my parents raised kids that were better than them. And I think
Are you saying you had shitty parents?
Yeah. No, they did the best they could, but they were limited.
I don't know about that.
Very limited.
Have you looked at yourself lately?
This is the best they could do.
Alison, are you close with your parents?
I am, but Greg and I both talk openly about our parents' shortcomings, but I think mine might be the only ones who occasionally tune in. They were, you know, my parents were younger when they had me, and I agree they did the best they could, but I think that I'm trying to be careful because I was unaware that my mom listens sometimes, but now I know that she does. Now that we're on YouTube, she watches it. Hello. I think that, well, let me just juxtapose with me. Like, I've been in therapy for a long time, and I've really tried to work on myself and to look at the uncomfortable things and all of that stuff. And I hope that is going to benefit my kids, because they have a mom who is focused on regulating her emotions and all the benefits of therapy and stuff that maybe my parents.
Which owning your shit is important, and that's a great one to teach the kids by your own actions.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys explain this to your kids?
Oh, I'm so
Allison,
glad
they're so young. How are you explaining this?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, because
it's everywhere.
I have a news story that relates. Let's do some news, and here's a little song.
News.
Time for the news.
All right.
Why does it have to be the level it's at? That's a producer's dream to sound mix that lower.
No, he'll take it out and put it in. That was just this.
Are you talking about your husband?
Just once, too.
Wow.
He's building towards the big one.
I had 3 kids just doing it one time, but it spaced itself out. They wait.
Oh.
My swimmers wait. They wait
Time release.
on the lining.
That's
right.
smart.
They got a little warm-up suits. They don't even have the hats on yet.
No, they just cling to the side till 2 years go by.
Just wiggling in place, getting ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an article that I found from USA Today, which is it's called George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, What Do We Tell Our Children? And it's quite long and it has a lot of questions and answers. They talked to a couple experts, but basically they say that silence will not protect you or your kids and avoiding the topic is not a solution because your stress and your anxiety and your feelings, your kids are going to pick up on that. And it's important to remember that even if you don't have all the answers, that's okay. An age-appropriate explanation is better than silence. Now, unfortunately, they don't detail what an age-appropriate explanation is, so that's up to you to figure out.
I think it's up to the maturity of your child,
Right.
and you have to have the judgment. A lot of parents don't have the judgment of what's right. They might go, "You're 6, but this happened, and you have to watch this tape." And so they go ahead, Alison. Sorry.
Right. So that's okay. If parents are silent, children will often draw their own faulty conclusions about what is happening and why. And just a quick story. This is not race-based at all. But my mom had a sedan when I was a kid, an Audi. And my parents were worried that the engine was going to explode or something. And I remember.
Well, because they were exploding at that time.
Oh, was that a thing?
Yeah.
They were recalled? Oh, I didn't even know about this.
Oh my God!
The exploding Audis. Yeah.
They almost lost. They're amazing that they are where they are now. They really pulled out.
Okay.
They really put the ow into Audis.
Well, so anyway, I remember.
I have an Audi.
Do you?
Has it
Well,
exploded?
It's below my belly button. It exploded last night.
Congrats.
You're welcome.
I remember.
I ruined the linen. Sorry.
I remember going to sleep that night as a child, being afraid that the car was going to explode and then our house was going to explode and that I was going to be killed in the exploding car. And
Wow.
in the explosion of the car. And I think about that sometimes and I think, I was asking questions. Why did my parents not pick up on how afraid I was and reassure me that if it exploded, it wasn't going to also take down the house? Or maybe I don't understand it now. Were they exploding and like making a humongous fire?
Yeah, they were blowing up.
Oh, okay. So then maybe they were right to be that afraid. This story did not.
I'm glad
go
we
away.
talked. I mean, this is. I gave you. I. Go ahead. You got another one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that I remember being at home as a child and watching the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And I remember my parents crying. And same with John F. Kennedy. I came home from school. They sent us home, and then it ran all day. And with both, Walter Cronkite was our guy. That was our broadcaster. And he was like a father of America. And he looked into the lens and he was crying on both occasions. And they were equally significant because my dad especially was an unusually kind, empathetic man and did not understand racism of any kind and really looked up to Martin Luther King and Dr. King. And my mom did too. And she liked Kennedy because he was just so handsome. I think she might have, I don't know, she might have diddled herself to him. I don't want to talk about her. She's dead, so she's not mad.
She's diddling no longer.
Well, we don't know.
That's
She might be high diddle right now. Cat and the fiddle. But
can you imagine if that's heaven? Your mother dies and she goes to heaven.
That's hell. That's hell. If I see that, that's hell. I'm in hell.
Yeah, right.
No, it's very Freudian. My problem with her. Oh, you were so good on your show, Bobby. It's like why is that connotation so sexual? Please stop.
Yeah, but I think getting back to the story, I think the key with explaining things to kids is that you always want to have them ask what they need to know rather than tell them too much. Like give them a little bit and then engage them in a conversation and let them draw you out so that you're not giving them more. Because kids, they zone out. Most kids, they only want to hear a little bit of a topic and then they're on to the next thing.
Well, they're not going to zone out if they're seeing this, you know.
Are you about to show us something horrifying?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, I apologize. Things happen.
I'm finding that like right now, if I watch the news with them, that's a good catalyst for us to talk about what's going on.
But to watch,
I would shield young kids from some of the more upsetting images.
I
wish I had shielded myself.
That's not for young kids.
That and they don't give you. But part of me goes, you're a teenager, you should see this. I couldn't watch it, but I did. I had to. As a human being, I had to watch it. And so there is no case. There's no need for a jury. There's no need for anything. I've never seen anything. I've seen a lot.
The murder of George Floyd, right?
Yeah. And then to see his parents and to be able to see them be able to even be stoic enough to be in front of a camera and have to listen to news commentators being as kind as they can, but they're still selling tickets. But doesn't mean they don't care, but it's still, you know. But the big story is there's a thing planned at 11 and we'll be right back after this. You know, that's where, what?
Right.
I'm not watching All-Star Wrestling, so you know, give me the news. But when Walter Cronkite was on the air, when we were watching certain broadcasters, when Anderson Cooper started crying, you know, when different people throughout this, but we forget it in a millisecond, doesn't mean a damn thing compared to the death of this man.
Yeah.
And it has to stop. And so maybe this is the unfortunate wake-up call of the wake-up call of the wake-up call of why aren't you fucking listening? But the kid being there, my daughters watched it. And my oldest is so beautiful and so sensitive. They're all sensitive. But my middle one is, you know, she's ready to strap on gear and protest. And
oh
my God. She's militaristic. She's phenomenal.
Where does she live?
That's a little personal. She's at
555 Mockingbird Lane.
Right.
She's your roommate.
She's in downtown New York, and my older one's in Brooklyn, and it's not safe. And I want them to come home, but there's COVID. So we watch TV, and all of a sudden there's no more COVID.
Isn't it crazy how COVID has really taken a back seat?
And how
not only that, people are assembling in groups and walking around next to each other.
This will be a real test of what happens when that happens.
It was election campaigning, COVID, murder of Mr. Floyd, continual election campaigning, disappearing in a bunker. It's like he's living Hogan's Heroes, the president, right now.
Right.
I know nothing. I see nothing.
So if a child of color asks if a police officer is going to kill them, what do you say? The answer depends on the age of the child. If it's a young child, a parent can be reassuring. For example, no, honey, you don't. This is so upsetting. No, honey, you don't. I mean, it's just, no, honey, you don't have to worry about that. Police officers don't want to hurt you. In response to an older child, you can be reassuring and say something like, I know that it is scary to think that something like that might happen, and I really don't want you to worry about anything like that. I know that most police officers want to help people, and most police officers never fire their guns, but sometimes they do get nervous and make mistakes. So it is important for you to know what to do if a police officer ever stops you. Black parents often refer to this as the talk they have with their adolescent sons to increase the odds they'll survive. I remember
go ahead. Sorry.
I had LeVar Burton on my show a couple of years ago, and he was talking about the talk and how vital it is.
Well, the talk being an African American and the talk being a person of privilege of being white, and that doesn't mean you're a person of privilege, because we all know people who are white that have no lives and commit suicide. So we know from everywhere there's trouble, but in terms of with the racialness, there is such anger, justifiable anger, and that's where all these offshoots of unfortunate violence come from. What do you tell your kid when they're watching stores getting broken into. They get scared. There's no other way they're going to look at that.
Yeah.
That's a target they go to with their mom or their dad, Costco or whatever. And and they're watching this happen. I say you don't have the kid watch that. Let them be a kid. You tell them, give them the talk. What LeVar Burton said is correct. I would do the same. I have done it with my kids. I've done it because we've been watching racial injustice forever. But
what's hard is like it's very little that your kid's not going to see. My kids see everything before I do. I'll try to bring up something I saw on the internet. They're like, Dad, that was 6 hours ago. What are you talking about?
I saw that on YouPorn 20 minutes ago, Dad.
That's my friend Sandy. Of course I'm going to watch it.
Right. Older women with nanny goat beards. Is that what you type in?
I think you can just put in Irish and that comes up.
I went to Ireland on a wonderful trip with my wife, Kelly, who's got the perfect name. And we had a lobster problem, like rats. We set traps for them in the hotel because they're varmints. They're cruel varmints.
Yeah, they'll come at you. And, you try to stop them with the butter, but you can't.
No, the drawn butter. You draw them out.
Yeah.
You know how you
get a little rubber bands and just lasso them on.
Idea.
You get the rubber bands on the claws and you get a towel and nut crack them. That's what you do. Nut crack them.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to do some highs and lows where we talk about the highs and lows of the week? It's a little bit.
I'd love that because all I've been doing is low.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start with a high.
Okay. Hang on. We got a little song here. I'll try to make it less loud.
Lows.
All right. Who wants to start?
I couldn't hear it.
Okay. Well, it was definitely too low then.
Always a complainer, Bob.
That's okay.
My high this week was, we sent away for a lot of stuff on the intranet. And a bunch of it arrived this week. So we have a kind of a bonus room in the back, and we turned it into a gym. We got a heavy bag. We hung the heavy bag. We got the rubber bands with the grips on them, so you can do different exercises. We got a jump rope, a couple yoga mats, and a kettlebell. And all four of us have been going in the back together, and we do like a cycle. We do like a cycle workout for like 45 minutes, and we all just work out. And it feels, you forget, I don't know if you haven't been working out at all, but it feels unbelievable to burn off some stress.
Yeah.
Like
during these times.
Your own curves going.
Yeah, we got a curves going.
That gym.
I think after the pandemic, we're going to start charging a membership to our neighbors.
I like that a lot. That's a real good thing. My wife Kelly and I do what we can. We have a Pilates machine in a room and a gym, and I'm not doing as much, but I burned off a lot of calories last night, if you know what I mean.
Hey now, Bob Saget.
By the way, don't think that's not cardio.
That is cardio.
The way I do it, I got a trapeze.
Yeah.
I got a rainbird sprinkler in the room.
Wow.
Yeah, I like to clean up afterward.
Perv de Soleil.
Who usually initiates, Bob?
I'm pretty much on if she says yes, I jump to attention.
So it's a standing offer.
Well, there's times where I just look at her, and like this morning when she posted this thing on Instagram that goes back to the death of Mr. Floyd.
It turned you on?
How heartfelt she was, how real it was, how much pain she felt over it, just made me love her more. And my best physical moments in my life have been alone. But other than that, they've been
just like your mom.
Or with my mom and my dad watching and taking pictures with an Instamatic. But that's kids. That was a camera. But my sexual activity is always usually based on love, which means even when I was divorced at 42 years old or 41 years old, even if it was a strong sexual attraction, it would still have to be Well, that's not true all the time. I guess I'm a hypocrite.
Come on.
But I'm older now.
You didn't love all those one night stands back.
I had very, very few in my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, I had to have. Are you a one night stander? Were you? Greg?
Oh yeah. A lot of those.
So what happened? You finished and they just ran away?
No, I mean, it's tough. The door's locked. So, I mean, I don't know where they're going.
Right.
They can run to the door. But no, I really enjoyed the sport. I like the chase.
The sport.
I like the sport of it, but I also.
So you're not aware of Me Too? You just don't even know what those words mean.
They didn't exist back
He
then.
still
Not
barely
together.
knows.
They did exist, but they were not put together yet, which was so much more fun. But I didn't always go with the most beautiful girls. I went with the girls that I could
said
party
yes.
with, that I could laugh with,
Right.
that said yes. No, I enjoyed being around fun girls.
Yes,
And sex
same
was
here. I enjoyed companionship of fun,
Yeah.
and my wife and I do that. I'm very, very fortunate, and I also have these 3 amazing daughters from their mom, who's a good person. So,
Yeah.
But this is a different thing. It's like I'm just very lucky. I mean, I've never enjoyed going to Vegas because I work there. You know, you go there to work or you go there for a convention. But it's like, I have fun with her. I mean, she enjoys that stuff. And
Let me ask you this, and be honest with me. Will you be honest when I ask you this question?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Have you ever masturbated thinking about your own wife while you're on the road?
Does it have to be the road?
No, it can be anywhere.
I am immensely attracted to her, but my kids might hear this. So all I can say is that
I love that that's the line.
If ever-
He just was having sex with his mother while his dad was in the corner watching.
yeah, they laugh at that. They get that. If you knew my mom, you'd laugh at that. That's why I have the sense of humor I have, because of her provincial.
I know. And by the way, speaking of which, if you want to get to know Bob's parents, his book is absolutely beautiful. He's got a memoir that I read, what is it, about 5 years ago that came out?
Something like that.
And it's such a love letter to what amazing parents you had.
Dirty
Yeah.
Daddy, right?
Yeah, you did the same thing. You helped me promote it too, Alison. Thank you. It dealt with all the pain and all the death of my sisters and my parents. And but it's, you know, their love, and they were weird, man. But their love for each other. So, and they were a little pervy. I mean, when they passed on, I had to go get the computer.
Oh God.
And I looked under history. I'm not kidding you.
What did you find?
You're not going to like this. It was like farm animal stuff.
No.
It was farm animal stuff, which I believe they were one of them was on a porn site, but you know how sometimes they give you new places to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
maybe they clicked on something that was incredibly perverse, but
Right.
then to give you the real perfect button to the whole thing, they take you to the farm, and they,
Yeah.
you know,
Your dad was probably just watching some harmless German fecal porn, and all of a sudden, you know, they take you somewhere else.
yeah. He also thought chickens were funny. I didn't realize why.
He would have loved our podcast. We, this is not a joke, have spent
kind of
so
our running
much time talking about chicken sex because we have a lot of questions about chicken.
Oh my
reproduction.
God. I always talk about that. And that's something I'm really happy about. Notice how I dodged the question about, you know, my
wife.
My wife. Yeah.
Oh, you'll tell us off the air.
Well, the answer is if I'm ever online and I've ever done anything and I'm really lonely and I'm in a hotel room and I got a computer and I hit a site, I actually look for people that look like her. And then I give up and I call her. And that's my feta complete. Feta
Wow.
is a Greek cheese, which is what forms on my parts.
You finish on feta cheese?
Yeah, I put feta cheese on my wiener with olives and green peppers. I basically toss my salad. It's a Greek salad.
And you have sex with a guy named Peter?
I have sex with Stamos, and he's as Greek as it gets.
How close have you, honestly, and again, be honest with me, what's the closest you and Stamos have come to French kissing?
Anally or just regular?
No, dude, just on your mouths, on your little mouths.
We have we've kissed each other's faces, but not our mouths.
No, okay.
But
All right.
anally.
Anally, yes. We put our butts up to each other, and our hemorrhoids do a loop-de-loop.
Oh, like when fancy people like do the drinking the champagne glass?
It's even more, and if we turn the other way, you know what we do is we get those Chinese finger things
cuffs.
Yeah.
those finger cuffs. We put our wieners in those,
Wow.
so we can't separate. And then Coulier comes in with that woodchuck and ruins everything.
Yeah, he comes in with a towel and cleans up. I know Coulier.
No, he's actually so hilarious. He's the first guy to be naked and just at a party for me for my birthday years ago in Vegas with Stamos and a bunch of 6 guys. And I was single, and Dave was naked and throws himself against the window at the Palms Hotel and just puts all of his parts up against it and then blows mouth farts against the glass. And he just stays there. I'm like, don't you want to clean the window? I mean, there's no thought of cleanliness. I mean, and you're in a suite in Vegas.
Yeah,
Can you imagine? Vegas hotels are open and we've got to fumigate them. They got to clean them really good now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, we got so many highs and lows to get to. What's your high, Bob?
My high is the love that I'm able to express through this time, which is a reset, is how you try to positively look at it with my kids. Bless you.
I'm allergic to sincerity.
I know, me too. I hate it. But I'm being sarcastic. Yeah, I love my kids. I'm sure, right. But but they are, when I'm able to connect with them and talk to them, and we talk about serious stuff, and then I do some Zoom calls with some friends, and it just hits you. And I'm sure you do it too. You go and doing the podcast has been a new thing for me that's made me feel so connected to people. And you end up being friends with people. I mean, Greg and I, we never liked each other. But I've been doing his PCast since he came up to me and kept saying, I'm the second highest rated show next to Howard Stern on that. And I went, okay. But we also have
Meanwhile, I'm the only other show on the channel.
That's what's happened. But we also have a mutual friend who we work with, but he's just one of the best people on the earth. So I try to surround myself with those people, and connecting with them during this time has been a real high. I enjoyed watching the rocket ship take off the other day.
Oh, yeah.
I liked that, and the back of the president and vice president to watch their butts in the wind. That was quite a beautiful sight. But it was things that are inspiring, things that highs of the week of all the tragedy we've watched is when we see, an African-American police officer walking and protesting and hugging people, and people that genuinely aren't doing this. There's no premeditated, I've got to keep the peace, I don't want to be hurt. They're doing it because when I see human love, I start bawling. It can be in a movie, it could be in a TV thing, open communication for sure. But when you're seeing it during this tumultuous time and you see acts of kindness during it, that kind of goes, okay, I think I could sleep tonight, There
you go. All right, Alison, what's your high?
My high, I have a huge high. In fact, Greg, this has to do with our predictions for the year, which we were going to bone up on because I forget what they were, because I forget who wins this.
Wait a second. Greg's married. You guys are married. You're going to bone up?
Yeah.
We also do... No, that doesn't work. I was going to say we also do the finger cuff thing, but I don't have a penis, so that doesn't work.
Oh my God, this is all news to me.
I know.
No, it's more like, with her, it's more like a riot. I've got a baton, and she's
got a taser.
She's got a taser, and I go in. I start. Oh, we're getting warned.
Yeah,
Public
we're getting
safety
alerts.
Warning.
Oh,
There's a curfew tonight,
5 p.m. to 6 a.m.
in all of Los Angeles.
You're about 4 hours late on that notification.
Wow. I think it's Santa Monica, because I live in Venice. Santa Monica's next to us. I think it's like a 1 o'clock curfew because yesterday was so bad.
Do you guys? Oh, really? Do you guys get a phone call as well? Because in Burbank, we get a recorded message calling us, and we get a text, and we get this pop-up alert. It's a little much. It's a little thirsty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good to be informed.
Yes.
You know, the curfew all over the country has been extended, according to what I just read.
Oh.
Okay. So anyway,
Right, so you're
Greg and I have some. We have I forget what even the stakes of it, but we have like a bet going.
It's a steak. Whoever
It's
wins.
a steak. The stakes
Yeah.
are a steak. I forget who's going to win, but my 1-year-old Owen took a few steps.
Hey.
That's right.
Wow.
Very exciting.
That's exciting.
That's a big deal.
Yes. And the funny
Is he
thing
a
is
heavy? Is he a heavy drinker?
yeah.
So is he on a 2-step program right now?
He's on the first step, so he's admitted that he has a problem.
Oh my
Right.
God, that's the first step.
Yeah. The second step is breastfeeding.
That to me is the first step.
The second step is a bowel movement that goes up the back and around the front. And anyway, I had to change.
A lot of truckers have that.
I had to change a diaper, and I feel like my life is like segmented into before that diaper and after. That diaper changed me. But that's a separate story. So anyway,
I had a lot of that in my life.
it was
with my
so
kids.
awful. It was the most truly a personal.
You're going front
trauma.
to back though. You're wiping them front to back, right?
Actually, I did back to front because
No.
with a boy, does it matter?
Does it matter? He's going to get poop balls. You can't do that.
Yeah, no, her son Brown Balls is he's a great kid.
No, I
I find it very hard to get it off the balls. They really just they've got so many
Who doesn't?
nooks and crannies.
Right, they're like a muffin. But my mother, I got some kind of infection.
Oh, of your what?
When I was my wiener, and my testicles when I was a year old.
Oh boy.
And my mother then goes, well, there was a purple cream and I put it on with my hand. And you know what? I got the infection on my hand too. I said, why was your bare hand on my testicles? You were supposed to use like tissues or something. Use a cloth, a diaper. What? You're my baby. It's okay. You're my baby. Really? That's what you do to your baby?
I use my raw hand,
No.
but I would rather use some kind of thing to.
Sense
doing it all
memory.
wrong.
Sense memory. I believe you can be born at birth and something happens to you and it will be with you forever. And
Like circumcision.
Yeah, well, you can't put that back. You can stitch them back on, but they don't take. I tried.
No.
I couldn't. I had real trouble with the thimble because you got to sew.
Mm.
I used to have a joke. I still do if I'm out of material. But I have a new hour when I go do stand up, but I can't do it. But
Yeah.
got a new COVID hunk. I'm real excited about that. But
Oh my God, I have so much material once I get back, but it's like, when are we going back? I don't know when the clubs are going to open. I talked to some club owners, and actually, I think in Texas there's a club open.
Salt Lake City's open. I believe Stand Up Live in Phoenix is open or opening.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they're open. What are they doing? Like a third capacity?
I
or something?
can't
gotta
do
feel
that,
weird.
and it's dangerous. It's dangerous
Yeah.
for me to put people together. Right.
And they're laughing. They're expelling germs as they
And
laugh.
you're shouting and expelling.
If you saw the movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman, where they were trying to figure out how this thing happened, it was a Contagion type movie. It was a really good movie, but there's one moment in the movie. It was a Contagion or Outbreak. I'm pretty sure it was Outbreak. A man coughs while they're laughing in the theater at the movie. The whole audience, packed house. And he coughs, and they follow the point of view of the phlegm ball. And it goes out, and it does a U-turn, and it goes right into someone's mouth who's laughing with their head thrown back,
Yeah.
like the audience in America's Funniest Home Videos in 1989. And the phlegm goes in, and the guy gets this horrible new disease. So
Yeah.
That is
wow.
truly I have a thing about phlegm. It's not my favorite. That's disgusting. So anyway, my son took a few steps. He was very, very laissez-faire.
this is the edit.
about
That's
it.
the edit point.
I don't think he was aware that he was doing anything special, but Elliot and I were both overjoyed. So he did it once one day, and I was like, oh, this is the beginning. Now he's going to do it all the time. Did not take any more steps until a few days later. He took a few steps and then still hasn't. So I'm hoping, I know he can do it now. He just hasn't been doing it a lot. So that was very exciting. Should we even we have to do our lows. It's what we do. But I feel like, I don't know.
We'll do quick lows.
Maybe
My
a
low
couple
is
more
fun.
highs. I mean,
We just
Greg-
do one high apiece, Bob.
no.
Another
You trying to change the
high.
rules.
Here's another high. I'm going to switch my low into a high because my son is getting better than me. And I think that you can either look at that as a negative or you can celebrate that you've raised this kid who's now better than you. I played him in chess this morning. We play a lot of chess and there's a lot of trash talk.
That's
and
fun.
I finally go, all right, you know what? Bring $20 into this room and let's play. And so we played and I made a stupid mistake and he took my $20. And a couple days before we played one-on-one basketball, which is always pretty even. He beat me in that. And so he's starting to beat me in everything. And I really do feel mixed about it. I do feel like I'm proud of him on some levels.
What was your stupid mistake? I played chess a few times 1,000 years ago.
Well, you have to think like 3 or 4 moves in advance.
That's my least
And I
favorite
had-
part of it.
Yeah,
had,
like I
4
want to
moves
do that.
planned
How
out.
about being in the moment, Greg?
I know. And so I skipped one of the moves, and I didn't realize I
Oh.
skipped one of the moves. And so I was,
Well, that's
Taken.
age.
yeah, you're right.
I think you should be proud of your son. I think it's,
Yeah.
and believe me, it's good for his confidence to know how stupid you are.
Well, it's a family tradition. We outdo our fathers at a very young age in my family.
You should start just drooling at the dinner table for no reason. And purposely ask like completely mind gone questions.
Yeah. And the
Like-
same ones over and over again.
Yeah, like what color is the napkin? Or what do you call this? And you're holding a fork. Things like
Yeah.
that.
Right. And what's your name again?
Right. That's good. And you are?
Yeah.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Or the best
Or
thing
like
you
to your son, say, you remind me of my son.
Right. Right.
You look just like my son, I think.
I never liked him, but you remind me of him.
The worst thing you can do to your kid is when they call you long distance, which you'll be finding out soon. Greg will, is when the worst joke of all time is, how did you get this number? That's the worst thing you can say to your kid.
How did you get this number?
Yeah. Who is this? That's the worst. You get a text. Who is this?
Yeah. Or what's the old joke of like you call your kid and you go, great news, we're moving. Well, where are you moving to? What do you mean? Why do you think we're moving? Or I forget the punchline, but it's like
It's to get away from the kid.
yeah, something like that.
Oh, that's good. That's that's not even a joke. I don't know what that was. That was just, your son's right. You're just filling time with your voice.
I must seize upon this moment.
I knew you wouldn't let that go, Saget.
I mean, well, let it go. It was like talking to it. It was nonsensical. I mean,
There was a time recently
I was
where
halfway through and I was like, fuck, I don't know the punchline.
no, it was like a parrot that went senile. I don't know what that was.
there was a time a few weeks
Sorry.
ago on an episode where I said something like, this reminds me of that old joke about da-da-da. And then thinking that it was a joke everyone knew, I moved on. And then Greg was like, this is the problem with amateur comedians. You bring up a joke and then you don't tell it. What I did was so much less egregious than whatever
Yeah.
just happened for you, Greg.
That was really bad. That was really bad.
What were you angry about, Greg? Was it just how?
First of all, I don't yell like that, Allison. That's not my tone.
That's how I felt. It felt like I was being attacked.
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
Maybe like a month ago.
Yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember anything. I
This is
truly
true.
don't. I have to one of my jobs on the podcast is that I corral the emails together. And so when we get to the section of the show where we read the viewer mail, I choose them. And I literally have to say, did we read this one last week? about every single one.
Well, that's normal because I've never paid attention as much as I should have. When I was really, really interested in something, I would pay attention. I mean, I'm interested in this, so I'm paying attention, and I like to see.
So you're telling me, like, when you would introduce a clip of a guy stepping on a rake and getting hit in the balls, you didn't remember that the following week?
There's no need. It was on teleprompter. But if I was walking on the set on Full House and I had to say, what's going on? And that was my only line in the scene as I walked into a room full of pandemonium of kids doing stuff and painting Joey and Jesse, I couldn't remember what's going on. I could not remember that. So I would write that at 32 years old on the door frame of the entrance of the house.
Really?
Everything written on pots and pans. I love you so much. I'll always be there for you, honey. Pick up a coffee cup. Lines were on everything.
Do you think if we watch old Full House episodes, is there any evidence of you reading?
Never. And there's a lot of editing, creative work. I mean, on the gag reels, there's always me lifting a couch cushion and shoving a script underneath it. I'm literally on the fly,
Yeah.
And the kids all knew the lines, so they would all tell them to me. Candace, Jody.
Yeah.
Kids
have great memories.
So, Bob, what was your low?
Well, I think my low was everyone's low.
All right. So
All
we
right.
covered that.
Well, then I have one, and I would actually like your guys' advice on this one. I love Elliot's preschool. It is also very expensive. They are opening in July, and they need to know by the end of this week if we're coming.
Yes, I'll teach.
What?
I'll teach there.
Wonderful. Okay, we can move on then. I just don't think I feel ready to send him back to preschool in this.
That's a huge relevant question.
Right. In July, huh?
Yeah. And so I feel like we're probably going to lose our spot unless I want to just pay to hold the spot.
I don't know how necessary preschool is in a time where we're all living the way we're living, because we're not out of the woods yet.
Right.
But we're definitely, no one's even thinking about what's going to happen. Is there going to be a giant spike after all of what's happening in every city and people are just out on the street together?
Well, they were predicting another spike before all of this happened. And so now I think that's going to, hasten that. If there is going to be, like, this is a real test of what's going to happen when everyone is smushed up against each other. But yeah, I think maybe in the fall I would feel ready, but who knows? I feel like things are changing quickly too. So
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. I think the content from that, if there's a preschool that can be done online, if there's a Zoom preschool, I'm not against that if the kid has the wherewithal of it.
But it's the socializing that he misses out on.
Did you also wipe back to front on him?
For the most part, I go front to back, but I thought front to back was so girls don't get UTIs. This is news to me.
Girls front to back and boys front to back is you don't want to drag the poo to the front.
But he's dragging it himself. I hear what you're saying.
But there's a natural exit above the anus along your back. There's like a crease. There's a canal.
Some people don't have that.
Oh, that's so sad. We should have a telethon.
Yeah, we should. Creaseless. Lower butt crack syndrome.
Yeah, low butt crack.
Yeah.
And so
LBC? No, it's too close.
I don't think you're going to lose your spot because I think there's going to be a lot of parents like you that are not ready. So
and if a kid, it's preschool, so we're not dealing with first grade or second grade where if you're wearing a mask and the other kids aren't, they're making fun of you.
Right.
And but they're not getting sick because they're kids. So some will, kids with lower resistances. I would, I don't know. What the problem is, you don't want to bring it home to you either. I mean,
right. Yeah.
That's not selfish. That's you're no good to him if you're, really, really, really sick.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I think all child care facilities are dealing with this.
Worst case scenario, you can still pay and just not send them.
Right.
That's a waste of money. She doesn't need to do that, I don't think. Yeah. I think the advantage would be is if the preschool was in a strip mall and the looters destroyed it, and then your question's answered for you. You don't have to even think about it.
How
That's
unfortunate.
true. You're going to see kids running down the street with like
Slides.
little slides.
By the way,
basketballs.
that would be the smartest looting, is to send 3-year-olds in the store and they come out with like, really good stuff. That's a smart looter. If you're going to have your kid, who's going to arrest a kid? I mean,
no. And certainly you can't prosecute them.
No. But you might want to help him with the boombox. I mean, he's going to have trouble. Do they even
boombox?
Do they have boombox?
Do they really have boom boxes still?
No, they got the small little things. They got those tiny little things that sound like a boombox. I picture a 2-year-old carrying a boombox down the street.
It is something that it sounds like a 2-year-old named that, doesn't it?
Well, it goes boom.
Yeah.
We're not liking stuff that goes boom right now. No, I just almost dug a hole I'd never get out of. So I want to thank you both for.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, I'm not leaving.
Oh.
Unless you have to. I mean, it's up to you.
No, you want to stick around and do some emails? With us?
I want to do anything you want me for. You're my high point.
Let's do it. Let me play the email song.
Hold on yeah.
You wrote.
All right, here's some emails. In your opinion, why is it that we think why do we think the most of our own children? My oldest 16 asked me that. At first, it seemed obvious, but as I started to think about it, I really didn't know. Obviously, they're ours. They look and talk and act like us, but why is it that we're so biased to our own? Sincerely, Mr. Real Talk. Well, Mr. Real Talk.
Well,
I actually think that there are people out there who feel like, why do my parents give other people the benefit of the doubt, and why are they the hardest on me? But for the sake of argument, let's assume all parents put their own kids first. It's biological, right?
I think you love your kids, so you do the thing that a lot of parents do, which is, my kids, can you believe how brilliant my kid is? Or they're just involved with themselves and their life and their kid. They don't want to. The other negative is to go, why can't you be more like Johnny? He's awesome. So I think it's fine and normal to be proud of your kid and inspire them. And that's your rhetoric for your kid, to be motivated and think well of themselves, because plenty of kids don't feel well of themselves, and they hit teenagerhood, and that drags them into their 20s if they're lucky. I mean, there's a lot of kids in that age, and I'm not being a downer, I'm being the truth, with mental health issues, and that is something you want to prevent by doing everything you can to give them love and help. So you want to instill pride in your kid. So I don't think it's
but I think there is a point where, because specifically she's saying, why do we think the most? Like, a lot of times you see parents and they start, like, I have a friend, I'm not gonna say his name, he thinks his son is the greatest golfer, and it's like he's gonna go pro and he's gonna get a scholarship to college. It's like, dude, I play golf with him and I have a scorecard and I see what he gets. It's numerical. He's not that good. And I think that you can actually fuck your kid up a little bit,
right,
when you put the pressure on them that they're the best at everything.
Well, that's true. I wasn't taking the email that way.
Yeah,
I was like, is it natural to tell your kid how great they are?
You're right. I think that you think they're great and that you have pride in them, but I also think that you don't have to set the bar too high by telling them, or certainly telling other people in front of your kids, how great your kid is.
Well, I think what, if I could put words in your mouth, Greg, what you're saying is you don't want to distort reality.
Yeah.
I have a great example of that. Years ago, I was on a vacation with my ex-in-laws and their daughter, my ex-wife, and they had a friend, and all she did was talk about how great her daughter was. And I think this is where I get that tone of the email. It was so negative. It was like I swam to like a raft, and we were on vacation in some resort, and I swam to like out not far, and she said, "Where were you?" and I don't want to say what her denomination was. Where were you swimming? I don't want to give an indication. Yeah, right. And I said, I went out there. It's not far, 1,000 feet or something. My daughter, she's an Olympic swimmer. She can swim 2 miles. So that's great. It became like the joke of the week. It became, what'd you do today? Well, I went for a run. My daughter, when she runs, she goes past everybody. She's on the track team. She's going to be in the Olympics. I'm sure of it. That's the point of shut the fuck up,
Yeah, and it's almost like you wonder, where does that come from? Is that your own need to, maybe you don't feel like you're important, and so if your kids really shine, somehow that makes the family look better?
That's the sickness that everybody has, which is keeping up with the Joneses, which is having the perfect house, the perfect husband, wife, wife, sheep, and you, Greg, situation where your life is your dream life and your kids are the smartest and they went to the best schools, they did everything right, and it's just not, it's completely misdirected cheerleading.
Mm-hmm.
It is all ego, and it has nothing to do, it's really about you. It's really about your problem and your inadequacies, and maybe your parents put you down all the time. I don't know.
Right.
Or told you were great, so you were a debutante, and here you are putting it on your kid. So,
yeah, and kids know. Like you said, I think the number one thing you can do for your kid is give them self-esteem. For all the things we talk about on this podcast about, health concerns, exercise, nutrition, all that stuff. Nothing is as powerful as letting your kids be comfortable in their own skin, praising them, letting them be seen, noticing what they do and reflecting it back to them. Like, all those things are more important than anything else. It's just this other thing where you go beyond that.
And look how relevant that is to the difficulty that we're going through right now. It's exactly the difficulty is, where is the self-esteem,
Yeah, right.
Where are people telling their kids they're the best, they can do anything? It's true of most people. There's so many people whose parents put them down and just tell them, why aren't you doing it the way I want it to be? And I'm so disappointed in you, and you follow my rules, you're under my roof. So a lot of listening. That's all. Go ahead. Sorry, Alison.
I had a deep thought that also sounds like a stoned thought. I was not stoned. But I was thinking most people on this earth have some gripes about their parents. And if they don't have any, then I'm always suspicious of okay, well, clearly you're just repressing all of it. But I was thinking, we're the only species like that. You'd never, there's no dolphins that are upset with the way they were raised. There's no puppies that were upset with the way they were raised. It's interesting.
I do want to say that I had a rat problem here at my home, and they eat their children when they're starving.
So they have more to bitch about.
They do to stay alive. So I'm suggesting that we do that. If you can't make ends meet, you eat your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's keto.
I think so. I always wonder which one I would eat first, because Owen is
Greg, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Greg.
No, I was kidding too.
Totally. Okay.
Now, with the way we riff.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. I would never eat my kid.
No.
But if you had to, would you go, which one?
Just as a joke, I would say that I would eat JoJo, because Owen is such a jock. I think he'd be tough. I think he'd be all muscle.
She's more like veal.
Yeah,
okay.
She's veal.
Do we have another email?
Yeah, let's do one more. And this one comes from Jacob, who says, in today's digital media age where we share everything on social media, how can we handle home movies? I want to be able to look back at videos of my kids, just like I can see old movies of myself growing up. It seems like today everyone just shares videos on Facebook and Instagram, but how do I store and share these videos? Bob, do you have videos of
I have
your
everything.
kids?
I have a
How
couple.
do you organize them all?
Well, I actually had something very nicely done. My ex-wife's boyfriend took all of the VHS videos that I'd taken from the moment all of them were born and put it all on a hard drive for me,
Oh, wow.
which is really kind. And
No, it's amazing.
so I have all of the old stuff, and then everything new, you have the ability to go into I'm an Apple guy, so I'm able to go into, and I'm sure Microsoft has it as well, but with the photos, you can make a collage, you can choose all your videos, and you end up putting a song on it. Next thing you know, it's done for you. And you can burn it on a CD-ROM or a 3.5 floppy disk. Or you could save it and
I put mine on Laserdisc.
I sent mine I uploaded to Napster.
Mine's on microfiche.
Oh my God, microfiche. That just sounds like poo.
It really does.
I got microfiche from rubbing my son, cleaning him from back to front.
To back.
You don't want to give him, pardon my graphicness, but you don't want to give him shit balls. I'm just telling you that's
no.
He gives himself shit balls, but I get what you're saying. You're saying,
well, you tell him no. Tell him no.
Right.
No, and then show him how to stroke it. Oh no, wait a minute.
No.
Maybe
but rub his nose in it. Rub his nose in his balls, and he'll understand not to do that.
I think you're
and
right.
He'll never leave the house again.
Yeah.
Or cook him and eat him. I mean, we're back to where we started as a joke, but maybe in this case,
just as a joke,
just as like a premise.
Yeah.
As a premise, just literally just cook one leg and take a bite out of it.
Oh my God, he does have these chunky little legs.
Right. What's he gonna? He's not gonna miss anything. It'll regenerate.
Yeah.
Kids are like.
Now we've taken it too far.
I know. My bad. You wanted me as a guest.
And what did we get you as a chef?
Yes, I'm a chef. I can cook anything, especially children. My favorite book is Hansel and Gretel.
So fucking dark.
No, well, it's a dark time, so I kind of went to a dark place. Okay. And I got 3 daughters, so that'd be the farthest thing from my mind. I would never do anything like that.
You only eat boys?
Oh, that's gonna be the title of the episode.
That's only in West Hollywood, and that's a whole different subject, a different episode, and area I shouldn't have said.
Your podcast is Bob Saget's Here For You, and you have guests and you call people, and everyone should go listen to it after they've listened to the entire back catalog of Childish.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's a nice plug.
How long has Childish been on? Thank you, by the way, for my plug.
Year and a half. Yeah. But so check out Bob's podcast is unbelievable. I don't know what it's like to be interviewed on it, but I love listening to it.
I would love to interview you. I'm just
I'll cut it out.
No, I'm just busy. But
totally. I also don't know what it would be
I would love it. We will. I think it'd be fun.
Me too.
I do too.
Me too. I'm elbowing my way.
But you're plugging me, which I love. But you're both still doing your other podcasts as well.
Of which you've been a guest on all of them. Listen to Alison Rosen Is Your New Best Friend, comes out Monday and Thursday. And Greg?
Don't forget the Fitzdog radio podcast on Tuesdays, and then every Sunday Papers, which I do with Mike Gibbons, and we cover the news of the week.
I like that.
In a very funny way.
I like Mike a lot. Tell him hi.
Yeah. All right, I will, absolutely.
And I'm on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Oh, wow.
And Mondays was Bill Burr, and it's called Bill Burr Brilliantly Rips Bob a New One. And he just railed into me for a half hour, and then I tried to recoil and come back for 15 minutes. But it was like 10-year-old boys playing. It was so much fun. So
that's hilarious.
I'm really happy to talk to you guys. You were the bright spot of my day.
Oh, thank you. You're the bright spot of our day.
Yeah, I was looking. We've only had a few guests, and you were at the top of our list. So thanks.
That means a lot, and I appreciate it. And you guys know how to get a hold of me, so please do. It's just around the waist, and and then you wipe front to back. But that'll be when I'm old. But thank you. I send my affection to both of you, and lots of safety and health for you and your families.
Yeah, you too.
Same.
Good luck to your daughters. I hope they can get through being in New York through this time, and you guys see each other again soon.
Me too. I literally can't wait. And lots of good thoughts to everybody out there right now.
Right. All right. We'll catch you guys next time. I'm Greg Fitzsimmons.
I'm Alison Rosen.
And we are Childish.
Wait
do
a
that
minute.
together all the time?
Yeah, we do. But we should let Bob get into it too. And then we all say, and we are
I'll
childish.
just say I'll do a button at the end.
All right, you do.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm Greg Fitzsimmons.
I'm Alison Rosen.
And
we are childish.
Childish.
And I'm Alison Fitzsimmons. And I'm proud of it.